So Rishi, Made in India का जो remix है being considered in the Grammy Global Music category is a huge milestone. So what do you think makes this track resonate on such a international level?
This song for me, now listening to it, even though I've produced the music and Aria's written a song and sang the song and the artist, when you listen to it, it sounds like a world record. It sounds like a record which really represents.
So Arya, what was it like working with a legendary producer like Rishi Rich?
But I feel like it's such an honor to work with such an amazing producer like Richie Rich. I feel like I said, he's worked with so many people that I grew up with in America, and I feel like the way that he's expressed our culture, especially in Western media, has been very exemplary. And I really, it's honestly an honor to work with someone like him who is able to blend, both the Western sounds and Indian culture. It's such a beautiful experience.
Hi guys, welcome on Cine Speaks. How are you?
Good, thank you.
I'm
Okay, okay. So what inspired you to recreate or remix the iconic song Made in India? The original is such a classic.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Well, I mean, I originally wrote the song to embrace my culture, my identity, my ethnicity, but I realized that in order to do that, I had to find the true, deeper meaning. And obviously, it is a love song, but I really felt like love could be so interpreted in many ways. I felt like, obviously, in this case, it was a very generalized one with the music video as well, Love for a Boy, but I felt like with the remix, I wanted to bring it deeper. I wanted to really show love for the whole country, the whole patriocy of India in general. And I realized it all started from my mom because,
Yeah.
it's really a tribute to her life. She was born and raised in India. She was made in India. And I feel like all the culture I received, the roots, my family, it all got passed down from her to me, if that makes sense. So I really wanted that to show more of the Indian culture, more of the Indian embrace. And I felt like Rishi Rich was able to exemplify that and express that so beautifully while also adding his own twist. And especially with all the influences that he's gotten, I felt like the remix really brought a global presence, a global entrance into it.
Yeah. So Rishi, you have been credited with shaping the global sound of British Asian music. What made you say yes to collaborating on Made in India remix?
Thank you. Well, it was a friend of ours called Neil. He brought the record, the original version to me, and he said, "What do you think?" And they're working with this artist called Aria, and I checked it out and I loved the vibe. I hadn't met Aria then, but I just thought, okay, this is interesting. I'm very much a person that's always followed and been behind South Asian artists around the world. And it was just yeah, it was just really fun. He was just like, let's work. I was like, let's do it. If we're gonna do it, let's do it.
Okay. So Arya, what was it like working with a legendary producer like Rishi Rich? Any special studio moment you can share with?
Well, funny enough, actually, we weren't able to have a studio. I think really because we are in different countries and also just the time that we were in. So we actually didn't have really any studio time, but it was nice because he was able to send over demos and let me know, and I got to add on to it, tell him what I did want, what I didn't want. But I feel like it's such an honor to work with such an amazing producer like Richie Rich. I feel like I said, he's worked with so many people that I grew up with in America, and I feel like the way that he's expressed our culture, especially in Western media, has been very exemplary. And I really, it's honestly an honor to work with someone like him who is able to blend, both the Western sounds and
Yeah.
Indian culture. It's such a beautiful experience.
Yeah, my next question is this only. So the remix blends traditional Indian instruments like dhols and sitars and modern beats. How involved were you in shaping this fusion? So Rishi, can you just tell us something?
Yeah, I mean, it was, these were suggestions that were brought to me by Aria's team. Like, we want to include not just the fact that we are both South Asian and Indian, but instruments as well as making it's a pop record. And the good thing is that's kind of what I've always done. But I think this was probably one of all the songs I've done, I've used a lot of Indian instruments
Mm,
in this
mm,
song, but tastefully, not just, like some people just put tablas and, but just done it in a way where everything has its own space and it
mm.
complements. For me, if you're working on a song, whether it's an original song or remix, the music has to go in and out. I call it light and shade. It's got to be in and around the vocals. You don't want to take anything away from the song, but you want to do it tastefully. And the fact that, and I've always said this, like, I've grown up on pop music, on R&B and hip hop, but I'm also grown up on Indian music. So I believe that people like us are the best people to do this kind of fusion because we know what we're doing. We know how sitar should come, the timing of it, how it should be kind of and to blend the blend. I feel like a lot of people, like I wouldn't try and like do a Chinese R&B track because I'm not Chinese, if that makes sense. So for me, this is my culture and our culture. So yeah, we wanted to just not just showcase the fact that we're both, Indian, but these are our instruments that beautifully can work with pop music,
Yes.
you know.
And R&B, what is this R&B?
Rhythm and blues. So this is the R&B is like like you have Indian music, you have hip
It's a kind
hop.
of a
So R&B, yeah. So
okay,
like you probably might know it as soul, soulful music. But R&B is yeah, it's just basically just R&B actually. Yeah.
okay. And many young artists look up to you as a pioneer. What advice would you give to those who want to blend culture roots with mainstream music?
Um, I mean, I would always say just perfect your craft. Like I'm a musician, so I play music every day, whether it's a piano, guitar. But I have also learned Indian classical music. So I do know the roots of Indian music, but I also, I've studied like soul and jazz and stuff like that. So I think I always say this to producers, find your sound, and perfect your craft. Like I play piano religiously for an hour a day before before I'm in the studio, just playing, and I'm still learning, so I still like to learn. But yeah, just perfect your craft.
Okay. So Arya, this is your very first Grammy project. How does it feel to have your story rooted in identity and heritage reach such a prestigious global platform?
Well, honestly, I feel like it's so surreal. Like, this is something I've been dreaming about since I was a kid. Keyword dreaming. I
Mm,
never really thought that, anything like this would come up soon. And I always like to think, there's a saying I always like to follow. When you have your goals to be 10 times as big as you think they could be, you learn how to think 10 times bigger. And I feel like that's something I've always did. And I feel like that, and also some sort of like manifestation or just saying, I feel like when I started, like in the industry, I always said to people, I'm like, in 2 years, I'm going to be at the Grammys. In 2 years, I'm going to be at the Grammys. And I never really thought that was going to actually happen, but it did. I mean, I think just knowing that the work that not only me, but my whole team, everyone that's been involved with me, like we've spent so much time and energy and heart and soul into our work. And just to know that, you know, it's being considered for the Grammys, it just feels like such a validation. It feels like so inspiring for me to keep going. But it's also a message that, my culture, like I said, we don't really have as much representation of South Asia and Western media. And I feel like there's so many young Indian people there and young South Asian kids that are there to look up to me and look up to my team and look up to Rishi Rich as well and just, feel validated. And it's amazing. And for me, it's not even just about like the whole awards. It's more about like opening doors for Indo-Western fusion, for Indian culture, Indian media, and it's to be recognized on a world stage, like really just a global presence.
okay. So Rishi, Made in India का जो remix है being considered in the Grammy Global Music category is a huge milestone. So what do you think makes this track resonate on such a international level?
Um, I think exactly what you said a few questions ago, like the incorporation of our culture, through with music, the fact that we are both, South Asian. I think it's this song for me, now listening to it, even though I've produced the music and Aria's written the song and sang the song and the artist, when you listen to it, it sounds like a world record. It sounds like a record which it really represents the world. Like we all, the three of us are sitting here,
Mm,
we're in different parts of the world, in America, India, London, but we're talking about the same record. We're talking about that one record, So that's what I feel music, for me, I think creating a record which travels the world is so much more important than creating a record that just works in the city or in
mm.
one place. And I think that's what we're trying to do. And I hope that this time next year we will have that Grammy. So let's see.
Okay. So Arya, so you had already released Made in India with your producer Derek. What made you decide to revisit it with Rishi, and why? Is there any particular reason?
Yes, I mean, I just want to clarify one thing before people start assuming. I really didn't think like there's no comparison between the original and the remix. They're two wonderful arts of their own. It's like looking into a museum and seeing two beautiful sculptures. You cannot compare the sculptures
Mm,
made by different artists, made with different intentions. And I think that, the original really brought an emphasis to the generalized point, the very like pride behind India, and especially with an American generalized view, and especially even with the music video. It is so like amazing for like just the Bollywood inspiration behind it, the whole art behind it. Even like when I said like the shot when I shot the Bollywood when I shot Made in India the music video, it was actually in my hometown Gujarat, in my home city Baroda. So it was actually really fun to see my like childhood home and all like in my family being represented on the music video. But however, with the remix, I like I said really wanted to bring emphasis towards my culture, and especially like the tribute to my mom, like her roots, her culture. And when it came to that, I really wanted someone who had, the Made in India experience. And like I said, Rishi Rich has been, globally all over, but also the fact that he's been in Mumbai for 7 years, he's also had the Indian experience and been able to incorporate our culture into a soundtrack like that.
okay. So any Bollywood favorite music, any song, particular song that you love the most, Rishi and Arya, you both?
Mhm. Well, I mean, I've grown up on, R.D. Burman. I think the track that I produced for Sunny Deol's son, Karan Pal Pal Dil Ke Paas, that I did with Arijit, which was a big song, with him. And but yeah, I love old school Bollywood because I like to sample it. I get into trouble, but I like to sample old school music.
Okay, and Arya, yours favorite Bollywood song?
I know this has been like those are such like I think songs to go with, those are my personal favorites.
Okay, so ज़्यादा टाइम नहीं लूंगी आप दोनों का. My last two questions. Can we expect a video or visual element of this remix?
Hmm? I'm sorry,
Video,
can you repeat that
video
question?
or visual? Can we expect a video or visual? Video या visual आएगा इसका element for the remix? I'm asking the question.
Mm.
A video. Yeah, I think you
Video or
are
visual?
you
Yeah.
are doing you are doing a video. I think there's a video being shot. And I don't know too much about it. I think Aria will say a little bit more about the video. You're mute.
Arya?
Yes, I'm sorry. My bad. There's been some errors on my side. But yes, I feel like so there's been actually a lyric video that's been released out, and I feel like even with the lyric video, we spent a lot of time and effort because I wanted to make sure that India can be represented in the way that I see it, not only just the landmarks, but just the people. Like when you see the lyric video, you'll see people like in Holi, you'll see school kids. There's like a lot of emphasis behind that. But then also there is a dance performance video
Mm.
that's going to be released very soon. Right now we're in the actual works of editing it. But even with the dance performance video, there's been so much intricacy, so much time, so much detail behind it. I'm not going to say too much yet, but I will say that we wanted to emphasize even like the outfits themselves. There's like jhumkas in it. There's like obviously the tops, the pants behind it. There's so much emphasis behind everything, and I can't wait for it to be released very soon.
Okay, so I have one question for Rishi. The remix carries the same pride and global identity as the Make in India movement. So, how do you view the connection? Is there any connection you think? I don't know, man. Make in India.
Sorry, say that again.
At Narendra Modi, na Make in India. You heard, na? Narendra Modi's Make in India movement.
I don't think I've heard that, no.
As you're not aware of this, Arya, you know
No.
something about this?
Yeah, okay, I'll start from the beginning. All I was just saying is that Make in India, Made in India, very, very similar, phonetically. But I also feel like, I mean, I didn't really have any like, original intent with the whole Make in India thing. I think it was just, started as a coincidence, but I think it's just a beautiful alignment on its own. Made in India for me has been so much about the pride of our country, the patriarch of our country, the identity, the pride, the roots. And I feel like that's really what the campaign represents. I feel like Make in India is very, very similar to that. And I feel like, music has its own way of echoing its culture. And I just love that the song, that I wrote really carries the same spirit. And I think at the end of the day, it's just showing that with all the campaigns, the songs, we all have the same message. And it's really to represent India, to represent our power, our culture, our pride. There's so many people there, so many people willing to defend the country, so many people willing to support India. And I think it's such a beautiful thing.
Okay, I think there is some major internet problem. I think your side, Arya. So it's okay. We are wrapping up fast. So thank you, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you, Rishi. Thank you, Arya. Hope you're liking this interview.